My dear friends, today's subject is natural law. In this subject, we are dealing the meaning of school and what is the meaning of school of natural law and historical evolution of natural law. This historical evolution of natural law is divided into many parts. One, ancient period; second, medieval period; third one, Renaissance period; and fourth one, modern period. And afterwards, we will study the decline of natural theory and its advantages. The schools of jurisprudence. There are natural school, historical school of law, sociological school of law, and analytical school of law. What is the meaning of school? The jurists have made their approaches to the study of law from different angles. They have defined law, determined the sources and nature, and discussed the purpose of the ends. For the sake of clarity and convenience in understanding their point of view, jurists have divided it into different schools on the basis of their approach to rule law. This division is helpful in understanding the evolution of legal philosophy. Now we will go to natural law school. What is natural law? It is called the command of the God imposed upon men. Natural law is moral law. It is established by that reason by which the world is governed. This natural law is called unwritten law or eternal law or rational law or divine law. Why? It is unwritten law because it is not written on any pillars of stone. It is written on the hearts of men. It is eternal law because it is universally obeyed in all the places and by all people. It existed from the beginning of the world, so it is called eternal law. It is called rational law because it is supposed to be have based on the reason. It is called divine law or natural law because its principles are laid down by God Himself for the guidance of mankind. It includes all the principles of morality. Its principles are common to all status. Appeal of natural law is higher than the positive law. Now, history of natural law. This natural law theory has a long history. It started before Greek, Rome, and Christ thinkers laid basis. Must for the sake of studying, we will classify it to Greek scholars, philosophers, how they built natural law. Heraclitus, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, Stoic, we will study. After Greek and fall of Roman Empire, the church authorities, priests started interpreting the natural law. Aquinas, Locke, Rousseau, Penrose, Kant, Maurice, they are all the philosophers. Afterwards, 17th century, Renaissance started, and that is Grotius and Hobbes and Rousseau, these are all they came into picture. Now we will study natural law is relating to regions. There is no one theory of natural law. The term natural law has been understood to means variety of things to different people and different times. Natural law is weapon to fight against between the church and the German emperor. Now we will study in detail during the Greek period how this natural law developed. Greek thinkers laid the basis of natural law. Heraclitus, he laid the basis of natural law. He termed it destiny, order, and reason of the world. Nature came to be opposed to the tyranny of man. Nature is something external, outside man. Another philosopher, Socrates, he defined virtue, the fundamental ethical conception of law. He said, authority and positive law should be obeyed. He did not give blind adherence to the positive law. He said, positive law should be subjected to critical evaluation in the right of man's insight. Next came Plato. According to him, God gave all men an equal measure of sense of justice. He floated the idea of ideal state. His idea of republic is an attempt to discover the basis of justice. Administration of justice is given to the philosopher kings. His wisdom and education is sufficient. There is no necessity to link them with higher values. Next thinker is Aristotle. For him, world comprises the whole of nature. Man is only a part of the nature. Man is part of matter. Man is part of the creature of the God. Man is having the power of reason that distinguishes man from all other parts of the nature. Man is governed by reason and he lives naturally. Afterwards, Stoics, he said, man is endowed with reason. After the Roman Empire started, Romans followed natural law. They had three divisions of law. One, just civilly, and just gentium, and just naturally. Just civilly means it is civil law of only for Romans. Just gentium, the Roman magistrate applied this law to foreign citizens. So now Cicero is a Roman philosopher. The law is a natural force. It is mind and reasons of the intelligent man, and justice is measured. After the fall of the Roman Empire, Middle Age started, and theology of Catholic churches got importance. Two vital thoughts of medieval period was one, unity; second, supremacy of law. The view of Thomas Aquinas got great importance. Catholic philosophers and theologians of the Middle Ages gave a new theory of natural law. A very important one is Thomas Aquinas. He is the representative of the new theory. The struggle between the church and the state began. There was a need for a church to establish its supremacy by rational agreement rather than force. It was necessary for the Christians for unifying the Christian philosophy. Aquinas tried to meet the needs of the church. It is called Doctrine of Aquinas. He told, fire burns, doesn't freeze. Law consists of means in achieving end. According to him, he divided the laws into four categories. One, law of God; natural law; divine law; and human law. According to him, law is nothing else than an ordinance of reason for the common good made by him who has the care of the community. So, law is nothing else than the ordinance of the reason for the common good. Man can control his own destiny to a large extent, but he is subject to certain basic impulses. What is this basic impulses? Self-preservation, impulses to reproduce the species or their children, impulses take decision for the attainment of higher things. These are all the part of the nature, for this law is not required. The primary precept of the law is that good should be done and pursued and evil to be avoided. Man impelled to seek good in survival, continuity, and perfection. He must do things to achieve them and not to frustrate them. God has forbidden the contravention of natural law because it is contrary to the reason by which God Himself is bound. man not only to be multiplied but also make spiritual progress. The church is the authority. The church is the authority for the interpreting the divine law. So, what is the he divided laws into four categories. One, natural law, divine law, human law. What is natural law? Natural law means which is revealed through the reason of man. Divine law and human law. Natural law is part of divine law. Human law means it must conform to the law of the scriptures. Positive law is valid only to the extent of which it is in tune with the natural law. He tried to strengthen the authority of the church by saying, church is the authoritative interpreter of the divine law in the scriptures. State existed before church, he told. He told, the unjust ruler may be overthrown. He told, sedition is a social evil. He warned against unjustified rebellion. After the Reformation, the Protestants denied the authority of the church through its own reason, but bitter struggle between the Pope and Emperor for supremacy started. Now, third phase is the Renaissance period. Here, thinker is Hugo Grotius. He stated he gave new foundation of natural law. According to him, property peculiar to man is his desire for society. He want to live in a society. He want to spend life with a peace with the fellow men. Nature of human intellect desires a peaceful society. From that, we derived the principle of natural law. This natural law is independent of divine law. Natural law cannot be changed by God Himself. The fundamental of His principle is pacto sunt servando. That means the respect for the promises given and treaties signed. Second, the respect of other people's property and the restitution of the gain made from it. Return of the damage caused by one's fault. Third one, freedom of the seas as a principle of natural law. Natural law permitted private and public dominion over the seas. Natural law is based on the nature of man and his need of living in society. Human nature is grandmother for him. Natural law is parent. Positive law is child. Grotes used the social contract theory. He told it is the absolute duty of obedience of the people to the government and internationally also create a basis for legally binding and stable relation among states. Once the people transferred their right of government to the ruler, they forfeited the right to control or punish the ruler. However bad his government may be, ruler was bound by the natural law. His main concern was stability and orderliness and of international society. Next thinker is Thomas Hobbes. He lived during the days of the Civil War in England. He gave great importance to the state authority. Authority should be vested with an absolute power. He supported absolute power. He said, chief principle of natural law was the right of self-preservation, means protecting our oneself. In the state of nature, there was perpetual and devastating warfare, which the which threatened everyone. This natural law dictated to the man the rule of self-preservation, for which he tried to escape from the state of insecurity. He did it by transferring all his natural rights to the ruler to whom he promised to obey unconditionally. Ruler became an absolute ruler. The subjects could not demand the fulfillment of any obligation by the ruler. The only condition that the absolute ruler must do is keep law and order. He was against civil disobedience. His law is dependent on sanction. He said the government without the swords but words and of no strength to secure a man at all. All real law is civil law. It is commanded and enforced by sovereign. According to him, there is no distinction between state and society. There is no law between sovereign and subject. All authority is concentrated in the sovereign. The church is subordinate to sovereign. Natural law was not a superior law. He denied to the church the authority to interpret the law of the God. Natural law supported to political dictatorship. His theory is based on the idea of force and compulsion. According to Hobbes, man in the state of nature was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. It is the man and the arm that makes the force and power of the law. He was individualistic, utilitarian, and absolutist. His political thought made great influence on the legal thoughts of the next few centuries. Next thinker is Locke. He restored to the medieval concept of natural law. He placed the individual in the center and invested him with the inalienable natural rights. Locke was the opponent of Hobbes. According to him, the individual had a natural inborn right to life. He has a natural right of liberty and estate. He gave his chief attention to the right to private property. In that state of nature, man had all the rights which nature could give him. What they lacked was only organization. He advocated social contract theory. In that state of nature, all are equal and independent. No one is supposed to harm another in his life, health, liberty, and possession. Nobody could transfer to another more power than he himself had. Nobody had an absolute arbitrary power over himself or over other person. The limited power is given to the commonwealth for the good of the society. The state can never have a right to destroy, enslave, or impoverish the subjects. Another thinker is Rousseau. His theory of social contract is very popular. He said every individual had unlimited liberty. There is no private property, no competition, and no jealousy earlier. Every individual lived the free life of a savage. He knew neither right nor wrong. He was away from all notions of vice and virtue. There was innocence everywhere. This state of affairs did not last long. Why? Due to the increase in the population. Simplicity, happiness disappeared. People started thinking in terms of it is mine and it is yours. The art of agriculture, metallurgy were discovered. Men needed to help others. Stronger man did the greater amount of work. Cunning man got more of the product. So the difference between the rich and the poor widened. Life became intolerable. Everywhere wars and murder. This problem was solved by the theory of social contract. What is social contract? Everyone surrendered to the community all his rights. As a result, community became sovereign. Even after the contract, the individual remained as free as he was before. Sovereign can be represented only by himself. Rousseau identifies sovereignty with the general will or common interest of the community. He said, just as nature gives each man an absolute power over all his parts, likewise, the social contract theory gives absolute power to the body politics over all its parts. Individual is free in the state because he doesn't surrender his rights. to an outside authority. Liberty is civil liberty, not natural liberty. The rights to the liberty, equality, and property are the rights of citizens. Nobody in the state is above law, and everybody is member of the sovereign body. He must he put great emphasis on the general will. General will means the particular will of the members of the society. So everybody is allowed to will his own will, and thus majority will is formed. Whenever an individual differs from the general will, he is in the wrong because his will is merely a selfish will and not a general will. The general will is inalienable and undivisible. Now, afterwards, modern period started. Auguste Comte gave severe blow to the natural law theory, and they said natural law theory is false, non-scientific, and based on supernatural belief. Then man's thinking changed after the American Revolution, American Declaration of Independence, French Revolution, urbanization, science and technology greatly influenced the man's thinking. Newton started, church became subordinate to sovereign, legislation became the supreme source of law, and judgment law has been recognized. Custom has been put to third position. Now, decline of law, natural law. After the 19th century, the, the social contract theory did not survive the 18th century. 18th century gave the way for the growth of nationalism. Growth of natural science gave strength to European society. They demanded sociological approach to the problem of society. Montesquieu, he destroyed the foundation of natural law. He maintained that law must be influenced by environment and conditions such as climate, soil, religion, custom, and commerce. The theory of natural law based upon a conception of reason. David Hume showed that reason, as understood in the system of natural law, was based on confusion. He challenged the conception of perfect, complete, and discoverable system. At the end of the 18th century, resulted in French Revolution. Collective outlook on life developed, and natural law theories declined. And historical investigations exploded many assumptions. Researches into the early history of social society exposed the mythical nature of the social contract. The complex problem of the 19th century required a realistic and practical approach and not that of a natural law. Bentham, he criticized the idea of natural rights and described it as simple nonsense. He wrote, absolute equality is absolutely impossible. He questioned whether all men are free, whether all are remain free. He told, not a single man are free. He wrote, absolute equality is absolutely impossible, and absolute liberty is not good to the every kind of government. However, with all these demerits, advantages of natural law is where the positive law or man-made law fails, natural law comes to into rescue. Natural law provides flexibility, what they are and not what they ought to be. It weakens the authority of the unjust, immoral law. Thank you.